Good morning Year 3. Today we're going to begin with a recap of some of the shape work that we've started already. I'd like you to have a go at naming some of the shapes that I've drawn. I've also drawn some pairs of lines. Can you name them? Also, I wonder if you can spot the connection. Why are some shapes drawn with a black outline? Why are some shapes drawn with an orange outline? Pause the video while you have a go at naming the shapes, naming the lines, and explaining why some are drawn with a black line and some are drawn with an orange line. Did you manage to name all of those shapes? We have a square, we have a rectangle, we have a parallelogram, we have a rhombus, we have a trapezium, we have a kite. Did you spot the connection for all of these shapes drawn with a black pen? They're all four-sided shapes. Did you know that we call a four-sided shape a quadrilateral? Quad, the prefix, means four. Can you think of any other words that have got the prefix quad? I thought of a quad bike. It's called a quad bike because it's got four wheels. Quadrilaterals, all four-sided shapes. Did you spot the right-angled triangle? Did you spot the isosceles triangle? This triangle is still a triangle, but it's got sides that are all different lengths. Did you spot that all of the orange shapes are all triangles? Did you spot the perpendicular lines? This line is perpendicular because two lines meet to make a corner and the angle is a right angle, so they are perpendicular. Did you spot these two lines here make perpendicular lines because there are two right angles, one here and one here? Did you spot that these three lines in pink are all parallel lines? We are going to learn some new vocabulary today. The two words we're going to learn are regular and irregular. I wonder, can you work out what makes a shape a regular shape, like this square and this equilateral triangle? I wonder, can you work out what makes a shape irregular, like this rectangle, and like this right-angled triangle? Well done if you worked out that a shape is regular when each of its sides is exactly the same length and each of its corners or angles are the exact same size. Look, each of these sides are exactly the same, each of the angles are exactly the same. I wonder, did you work out that to make a shape irregular, the length of the sides have to be different and the size of the angles are different? So on the rectangle, we've got different length sides, that makes it irregular. On the right-angled triangle, we have three different length sides, and we also have some different sized angles. I wonder, can you think of another shape that could be a regular shape? Could you think of any other shapes that could be irregular shapes? Have a go at writing them down, or have a go at drawing them in your books. We have been learning about regular and irregular shapes. Here I have some quadrilaterals. Can you remember what a quadrilateral is? I'll give you a clue. It's got quad at the beginning. I've also got some pentagons. Can you work out which are regular? That means that all the sides are the same length and all the angles are the same size. And can you work out which ones are irregular? That means the sides might be different lengths. It means that the angles might be different sizes. Pause the video while you have a think. Let's start with the quadrilaterals. This square is regular. Why? Because each of the sides is the same length, each of the angles is the same size. This rectangle, it is irregular because the lengths of the sides are different, even though the angles are the same. This trapezium is an irregular shape because the length of the sides are different and the size of the angles are different. Let's have a look at the pentagons. Which pentagon is the regular pentagon? Well done if you spotted the pink one. Yes, this is the regular one. Each of the sides are the same length and each of the angles is the same size. All of the rest are irregular pentagons. They're still pentagons because they've got 5 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here are some hexagons and octagons. All of these shapes are hexagons because they have got how many sides? 6, well done. They are also hexagons because they've got how many corners? 6, well done. Can you tell which are the regular hexagons and which are the irregular hexagons? Remember, regular have the same length sides and the same sized angles. Irregular don't. Then, can you do the same for the octagons? This was the only regular hexagon. This was the only regular octagon. For your task today, I'd like you to work on describing some shapes. You have got a selection of shapes listed under task 1. I'd like you to choose 5 shapes from the list below and draw them in your book. I'd like you to write some clues next to them using these to help you. So I'd like you to say whether you've drawn a regular version of the shape or an irregular version. I'd like you to tell me how many sides it's got, how many corners it's got, how many pairs of parallel lines it's got, how many pairs of perpendicular lines it's got, and how many right angles it's got. You might want to do this in your book. I got a little bit creative and I decided that I would do mine as a version of top trumps. So I cut out my paper instead. I chose Pentagon off the list and wrote Pentagon. I put how many sides it's got, how many corners. I looked at my version of the Pentagon to work out how many parallel lines I could see, and I could just see this pair here for parallel lines. I then worked out how many perpendicular lines I've got, which is 3. 1 pair of perpendicular, 2 pairs of perpendicular, 3 pairs of perpendicular. I then needed to work out how many right angles I've got, so I found 1, 2, 3. Now I used my right angle checker from last lesson to help me, and then I had to say if it was regular or not, and I've gone for no, it's not regular. I also chose to do a square. So I wrote square, I drew a square, sides 4, corners 4, parallel lines 2, here's one set, here's a second set, perpendiculars 2, 4, silly me. It's always important to double check your work, isn't it? So here's 1 pair, 2 pairs, 3 pairs and 4 pairs of perpendicular lines. Right angles 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And is it a regular shape? Yes, because all 4 sides are the same length, all 4 angles are the same size. So you can choose whether you're going to just draw this in your book or whether you're going to be a bit creative like me and make your own version on cards. For the rest of the tasks, it will require you to think about regular shapes, irregular shapes, and the different properties of shapes that we've talked about today. That means sides, corners, parallel lines, perpendicular lines, and right angles. You also will be required to do some drawing. Make sure that you use a pencil and a ruler wherever possible. I will attach this document here as a PDF so that you can look back at some irregular and regular quadrilaterals, pentagons, hexagons, octagons, in case you are a little bit stuck. Can't wait to see how you get on with this work. Looking forward to seeing your shape creations a little later on. Good luck!